Hello, welcome to the lunch edition of MBC News, and you are with me, Evelis Chingambe. Our top stories. Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah hails Malawi's long-standing and productive relationship with the United Kingdom. Government issues a warning to health workers that the law will take its course on those found guilty of breaking the law in the delivery of services across the country. And in sports, the Malawi women's football team begins the COSAFA Cup with a date against host South Africa tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Now to our first story. Vice President Justice Dr. Jane Ansah has highlighted Malawi's long-standing and productive relationship with the United Kingdom, describing it as one built on shared values, mutual respect and constructive cooperation at both bilateral and multilateral levels. Dr. Ansah made the remarks at Capitol Hill in Lilongwe when she received British High Commissioner to Malawi, Leigh Staplefield, during a courtesy call. Charles Wahara reports.
During the meeting, First Vice President Justice Dr. Jane Ansah, SCJA retired, said Malawi highly values the enduring and fruitful relationship with the United Kingdom, which is grounded in shared values, mutual respect and constructive cooperation at both the bilateral and multilateral levels. Dr. Ansah commended the United Kingdom's contribution of £8 million British pounds, approximately 19 billion kwacha, towards humanitarian assistance, following His Excellency Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika's appeal and declaration of a state of disaster in some districts of the country. The first Vice President also held the British High Commissioner's support for Malawi's drive towards trade, mining and tourism. The British High Commissioner to Malawi, Leigh Catherine Staplefield, commended the Mutharika administration for what she described as improved strategies for Malawi's economic recovery and pledged continued support in education and hydropower.
So we are committed to helping the country, of course. The UK remains a long-standing partner to Malawi and the Malawian people. As I mentioned when I met the President, the macro-fiscal challenges facing Malawi are not an aid-shaped problem. They are an investment-shaped problem, and the UK continues to invest in sectors like hydropower and mining and agribusiness here in Malawi. That is what's going to drive economic growth and close that fiscal gap. Aid can support that process, it can cushion the effects of that reform process, but it's not an aid problem, it's an investment issue. And the President himself set that out quite clearly in his speech on Friday. I think what we spoke about was our shared values, our shared history. She reiterated the issues around democratic accountability and that we can be rightly proud of Malawi's fourth peaceful transition of power. That is not something to be taken for granted. We obviously share values in the multilateral system as well. Malawi and the UK sit on the Human Rights Council at the moment, for example, and she assured us of our continued voting alignment. We also talked about the resilience and issues around climate and climate finance and how the UK continues to support Malawi to access the climate finance it so desperately needs.
Staplefield took up her appointment as British High Commissioner to Malawi in November last year, succeeding Fiona Rich. Charles Wahara, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Members of Parliament are deliberating on the State of the Nation address that President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika delivered in the House last Friday. Meanwhile, some parliamentarians have praised the President for walking the talk on the electoral promises he made during his campaign. We have a joint report by Olive Perry and Austin Fugula.
Member of Parliament for Mulanje South East Buka Matemvu started deliberations by moving a motion on the SONA, saying Malawi, for the first time, has a president who understands what he is doing. Matemvu said most Malawians are struggling with poverty, which the previous government created due to lack of sound economic policies, but President Mutharika has come up with sustainable ways aimed at alleviating poverty. Matemvu adds that within 4 months, the Mutharika-led government has managed to resolve the fuel crisis in the country as well as bringing prices of maize down from 75,000 kwacha to around 40,000 kwacha per 50 kg bag of maize.
In the past 4 months, you have actually seen the fruits of leadership that we have seen in this country. Prices of food commodities are going down, inflation is going down, and basically the economy has been stabilized. There are just a few microeconomic variables that have to be worked out, like the forex cover and a few others. But this was the best, short and to the point.
Nino South parliamentarian Mutani Tambala seconded the motion moved by Mulanje South East parliamentarian and held President Mutharika's Sona. Tambala said Mutharika's administration has brought hope to the business community and won donors' confidence due to austerity measures put in place to cut expenses.
The President's Sona is just a reaffirmation of what he promised Malawians. So it is from the manifesto up to his Sona. So if anything, the President was here just to reaffirm us that what he said he's going to do, he is indeed going to do that.
In his contribution to the Sona, leader of opposition, Simple Exitula Banda, said it is commendable for government to stop issuing licenses for mineral companies.
I also talked about the mining development and exploitation. We commend government for that because they are trying to look at how they can add value to minerals in this country. But we said government should now review and look at the mining development agreements so that nobody comes here and exploit Malawians and then they get quite a lot of mineral proceeds and then foreign countries benefit more than we do.
Meanwhile, UTM spokesperson in Parliament, Felix Njawala, has also commended the State of the Nation address. Njawala has, among others, urged for stronger collaboration across various sectors as the President cannot achieve various development projects alone. Earlier, Speaker of Parliament announced that during the 8-week meeting, the Minister of Finance is expected to present the 2026-2027 budget on 27th February 2026 in the afternoon.
The Human Rights Defenders Coalition HRDC Ad Hoc Committee has held President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika's State of the Nation address, describing it as a comprehensive outline of Malawi's key development priorities. Speaking in Lilongwe, HRDC Ad Hoc Committee Chairperson Henderson Mhango commended President Mutharika for centering on economic recovery, anti-corruption efforts, and measures aimed at stabilizing the country's economy. Emmanuel Chukonso reports.
HRDC Ad Hoc Committee Chairperson Henderson Mhango said the address clearly articulated government plans to revive the economy and restore public confidence through strengthened governance and accountability systems. The committee also welcomed the President's emphasis on industrialization, particularly proposals to restructure mega farms to boost productivity and enhance food security nationwide. However, while applauding the speech, the grouping stressed that policy pronouncements must translate into tangible results. The committee underscored the importance of effective implementation, noting that action, not rhetoric, will determine progress toward national development goals. They further called for collaboration among all stakeholders, including civil society, the private sector, and the development partners to ensure the successful execution of the outlined priorities.
Our view on SONA, we have seen some positive things, for example, issues of food and also issues of revamping mega farms, including fighting corruption. These are the major things which can able to push Malawi forward.
Meanwhile, the HRDC Ad Hoc Committee has called for an annual general meeting to deliberate on organization's future direction, citing the need for structured leadership and strategic focus moving forward. Emmanuel Chikonso, MBC News, Lilongwe.
The Center for Youth Empowerment and Civic Education has described President Mutharika's State of the Nation address as one that gives hope and inspiration to young people. Executive Director for the Center, Laki Mbewe, said the SONA focused on key issues of youth empowerment and involvement. He cited the community technical colleges, 100 million kwacha youth loans, the Constituency Development Fund, energy and mining as areas which offer young people opportunities for development.
Initially, if you look at SONA itself, there are several elements that are attached to the SONA. It's a statement that should give people hope. Okay? Hope because they are coming from a hopeless situation. It's a statement of policy. Policy in the sense that development partners, we as civil society organizations and all other stakeholders, we look up to it to make informed decisions in terms of areas of financing as well as areas of expenditure in terms of national development. And thirdly, it's a statement of unity because it helps to bring all stakeholders together, including the opposition themselves. So that's why I'm saying the SONA is a very, very important process that we all have to expect in terms of what the president is going to address the nation.
EmpowerX Consulting Limited, an innovative strategic advisory firm, says despite sailing through a difficult economy path, the country has the potential to grow significantly with government's economic recovery policies. The company's chief executive officer, Nelson Gwende, says despite President Mutharika's projecting the economy to grow by 3.8% this year and 4.9% in 2027, the country can surpass the target as the fruits of economic recovery are already visible.
We've already seen, I think, what the new government is trying to do. We've seen the mandate, we've seen what they're trying to push for. I think right from the word go, you can see that they want to ease the pressure in terms of inflation. People should be able to afford what they can afford to stabilize the bit of key resources like fuel, forex, and other things. Like I've said, some of the things will take time. Let's say they have a bit of forex. It's a joint effort by the government and us as people who provide the resources, the moment for forex to come out. All right. So that platform is going to be provided, but it's going to be a slow process. We need to bear with the government and what is happening. Remember, there are other things that cannot be controlled by the government or people. They are natural in nature, and we hear about climate change issues. These are things that no government can take care of. But us as the EmpowerX Consults, we ensure that we work with the government and ensure that we move in the same direction where they need us. We also come in and train the people when it be. We have a mindset issue to deal with as a country. A lot of things that are happening here are not political in nature. They are mostly by our mindset, how we think about how we should do things. So when the EmpowerX comes in, we're coming in to change that kind of mindset, to work with the government and say, what does the government want to achieve? How do we come in? How do we train the people for them to do the right things? If the people have got the money, what should they do? What sort of financial advice can we provide to ensure that the people put their resources in the right spaces? So you notice that we're coming with a huge impact. This is going to be a process. We're not going to come today and then come December you'll find the whole spectrum has changed. No.
You're watching MBC News. A reminder of the top stories. Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah hails Malawi's long-standing and productive relationship with the United Kingdom. Government issues a warning to health workers that the law will take its course on those found guilty of breaking the law in the delivery of services across the country. And in sports, the Malawi women's football team begins the COSAFA Cup with a date against host South Africa tomorrow. Welcome back. Board chairperson of the Malawi Broadcasting Corporation, Benson Tembo, has challenged management and staff of the public broadcaster to exercise professionalism in making sure that the mother media house regains public trust. Tembo made the call on Monday when he toured Chishiri and Kwaja broadcasting houses on a familiarization tour. Rashida Matandika has filed this report.
On their visit, the board chairperson, who was in the company of 3 other directors, had an audience with management and members of staff where his message emphasized on unity and professionalism. The chairperson, Benson Tembo, made it clear that professionalism, discipline, integrity and ethical conduct are non-negotiable. He emphasized that by exercising the above, the mother broadcaster can regain public trust, which is paramount.
It is possible that MBC can regain the public trust by applying the unity that I'm talking about, by applying the line of command that we have to follow each time we have issues, not rushing to social media and other people that are not even involved with the issues that we have at NBC. I think if we are applying professionalism in broadcasting, it is very easy for NBC to regain its public trust.
Before their audience with the staff members, the board of directors toured Chichiri and Kwacha studios. In response to challenges that the broadcaster is facing, Tembo said they will be looked into.
It was important for us to come and see how you're operating as professionals in NBC. We have seen the situation in terms of obsolete equipment that you are using. We have seen that you have infrastructure that needs attention. Some of it is leaking and so forth. So you are working under very strenuous condition. But I have been very impressed personally that despite all these challenges, you are keeping up the corporation afloat. And that is very commendable.
The board members of the corporation took oath of office on the 22nd of January 2026. Rashida Matandika, NBC News, Blantyre.
Minister of Health and Sanitation, Madalito Waloyi, has issued a strong warning to health workers that the law will take its course on those found guilty of breaking the law in the delivery of services across the country. The minister issued the warning when she made a surprise visit to Kamuzu Central Hospital in Lilongwe. The visit is a follow-up to a recent media investigation report that exposed how public hospitals are charging for services that are meant to be free. Mainto Motsi reports.
Kamuzu Central Hospital is among the hospitals named in an investigation report by a collaboration of media institutions in the country which exposed public hospitals charging poor people for services that are meant to be free. Following this, Minister of Health and Sanitation, Madalito Waloyi, made a surprise visit to Kamuzu Central Hospital's Lions Hospital on Monday afternoon, where she warned that no one would be spared once investigations point to those responsible. Waloyi also presented her own evidence showing records of a patient who paid for scanning services at Lions Hospital, but the money went into the doctor's pocket rather than the hospital's accounts.
We've noted that this is a practice that has been there. And when people are saying this has been there, it's something as if we want it to continue. But I'm saying as a Minister of Health, this has to come to an end. When we talk of stopping corruption, what we are saying is, even if it has been there, but from now on it has to end. So I'm grateful to the people that worked hand in hand to bring out that report. But my action today is more than a report. I'm not responding to the report, but this is what we are supposed to do. We need as Malawians to have integrity as we work, especially the civil service. Our president is trying to say we don't want corruption in this country, and we should have civil servants that are taking money from poor patients. You know, the evidence that I brought here where patients have paid money, 280,000, 500,000 in the pockets of doctors is something that we cannot tolerate. And I want to warn all health workers out there to say if we've been doing this, just know that it will come to an end.
On his part, Director of Lions Hospital, Sven Yang, said the minister's visit was an encouragement for people to report such practices, bearing in mind that the issues have been going on for a long time at the hospital.
We welcome all tips on this kind of corrupt practices. We have notices all over the hospital that we are a free public service. and that they should not be paying cash directly to any staff, except if they are receiving formal private services. But those are completely voluntary services and are treated in a completely different part of the hospital. So nobody should be asked for money if they're trying to access free services. We report all the cases where we have proof to the professional bodies, to the regulatory authorities and to Ministry of Health and to the Health Service Commission. The problem is very often we don't get proof. People are not willing to come forward and tell us who is being asked for money and who they are paying the money to. So the more people who come forward and talk to us about this, so that we can have evidence against staff that are not behaving correctly, the better. And we welcome anyone to come. We can also get anonymous tips. We have suggestion boxes all over the hospital. These are only opened by the hospital ombudsman, so we can guarantee that it will be treated confidentially, and whistleblowers will always be protected. We will never use them, any facts against them.
During the State of Nation address, President Professor Thabita Mutharika warned that he would spare no one involved in corrupt practices in the public sector. Maim Tumodzi, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital in Blantyre has been facing an issue of congestion, which has in turn compromised sanitation at the facility. In light of this challenge, management of the referral hospital has introduced new measures of managing mortuary facilities. Director General of the hospital, Professor Patrick Kamalo, told MBC that these measures include limiting entry of bereaved family members to 23 vehicles, prior booking and no preaching services. George Mohango has compiled this report, being read by Erlene Chimoya.
These new measures, according to hospital officials, are effective 15th February 2026. Director General of the hospital, Professor Patrick Kamalo, was quick to mention that the measures will help to speed up provision of mortuary services. He further said families should also ensure that they stick to the time that they have booked for collection of the body of their loved ones.
In Malawi, it happens. People say they don't want to go to the funeral place. They say, we are going to meet at the mortuary. Half the time it comes and a social event. So there are a lot of vehicles which are coming. So what we are saying is we have given provision for 3 vehicles, which we think is actually quite generous. So there will be the vehicle which probably will be carrying the body, and maybe there are 2 or 3 family members or somebody from church who don't want to come with the family, who can come on their own vehicle. So we've given an allocation of 3 vehicles. And for the people who are coming, we also felt that for the close family members, a few people from church, we thought 20 is a good enough number.
The hospital has since urged those that want to have full service of prayers to seek private mortuary service providers. Queen Elizabeth Central Hospital is one of the major referrals in Malawi. Currently, it admits almost 1,350 patients on referral basis.
The Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources has assured the Malawi Environmental Protection Authority MEPA Secretariat that it will engage various ministries to ensure the institution operates effectively in fulfilling its mandate of protecting the environment. Chairperson of the committee, Taoni Henry, made the remarks after meeting with the Malawi Environmental Protection Authority MEPA officials in Lilongwe, where she stressed the need for collaboration in addressing environmental challenges. Details with Maeso Shikatsula.
Speaking after the engagement, Chairperson of the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources, Taoni Henry, said the committee is aware of the numerous challenges MEPA is facing and pledged to lobby for increased operational support. She highlighted mobility and staffing gaps as key constraints affecting the authority's ability to effectively carry out its duties. Henry further announced that the committee has given MEPA at least 30 days from 30th March 2026 to remove all thin plastics in the city of Lilongwe before extending the exercise to other cities across the country.
As a parliamentary committee, we've we've also noticed that they've got a lot of challenges. The first and foremost challenge that they have said is on the staffing. So you've seen that they are at 17%. They about 17 members or 19 members of staff out of 92 that are supposed to be there. So as a committee, we're going to lobby that recruitment should be done as soon as possible, so that issues of research, auditing, environmental protection that they're supposed to do is the mandate, they should not be affected. We've given them a recommendation that within 1 month they should make sure that we have no thin plastic papers. We're starting with Lilongwe. So we've told them that by 30th March we shouldn't see any plastic thin paper on the market.
Director General of the Malawi Environmental Protection Authority, MEPA, Wilfred Gadewa, acknowledged that the institution is facing operational challenges and is seeking Parliament's support to strengthen enforcement and compliance efforts.
For us, we take it as a welcome suggestion that we needed to up the heat, particularly in the city where the usage is on the higher side, and also manufacturing has been highest in Lilongwe. In fact, previously we were targeting manufacturers, and the majority of them are in Lilongwe. So the next course of action in the strategy would still be fitting to start in Lilongwe. So we're happy that we will have the members of Parliament also joining us in this endeavor to set as a lesson and a pace for the rest of Malawi.
The Malawi Environmental Protection Authority is a government agency mandated to oversee environmental management and conservation in Malawi, tackling issues such as pollution control and promoting sustainable development. Maestro Chikadzula, MBC News, Lilongwe.
And now in sports, the Malawi women's football team, the Scorchers, begin the COSAFA Cup tomorrow with a date against host South Africa. The team arrived in South Africa yesterday with a 24-member squad. Norbert Jimson reports.
Fazili has included 4 players who were part of the Malawi Under-20 squad that recently progressed to the final of the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifiers after beating Guinea-Bissau by 6-2 on aggregate. The quartet comprises Letitia Chinyamula, Olivia Pigani, Sarah Mulimbika and Maureen Kenneth. Also making the squad are 4 foreign-based players, namely Egypt-based midfielder Vanessa Chikubira, defender Chimwemwe Madise of TP Mazembe in the DRC, Tendai Sani of Zist in Zambia, and Yisomo Banda of Konkola Blades Queens. The Scorchers will use the tournament as part of their preparations for the upcoming Women's Africa Cup of Nations finals starting next month in Morocco. Malawi is in Group A of the COSAFA tournament along with hosts South Africa, Angola and Lesotho. The Scorchers, who won the trophy in 2023, will kick off the tournament against South Africa on Wednesday. Only one team from the group will automatically advance to the semi-finals. Norbert Jameson, MBC Sport.
And that's it from our newsroom this afternoon. A recap of our top stories before we leave. Vice President Dr. Jane Ansah hails Malawi's long-standing and productive relationship with the United Kingdom. Government issues a warning to health workers that the law will take its course on those found guilty of breaking the law in the delivery of services across the country. And in sports, the Malawi women's football team begins the COSAFA Cup with a date against host South Africa tomorrow. For more news, visit MBC Digital on Facebook, X and Instagram. You've been with me, Evelis Chingambe. Thanks for watching and good afternoon.